Good morning. Denise Dryden here out on Bainbridge Island, and I am learning the beauty of fog. Like that deep fog where you can't even see something out in the water, and all you can hear is the horns or the bells to let everybody know that there's a ship or a boat out there. It's fascinating. So we're going to hear some ferries go by. We might not see them, but they're there. So today I want to talk about the concept of changing everything. Change everything. So, there are times in our life where something happens. Something kind of comes up and goes tap, 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 or smack you right on the side of the head. Comes along and stops you in your tracks, right? So that could be something like a diagnosis of something you didn't know was going on with your body. Loss of a job, which is like financial, emotional. Could be a divorce where you decide to end a long-term or short-term relationship. Major move, or retirement, or you have a kid, which is my specialty area, right? You have a kid that just can't be in the home or can't do what they were doing anymore. I'm also going to put in there that whether it's retirement, whether it's the onset of anxiety that becomes profound, think about some things that have been going on. So what else comes up for you when I say major changes? So you wake up one morning and you know that something absolutely needs to change. So this event, this realization, is an invitation to explore change, because each of us has, our little set life, and then we have all these little boxes and pillars of what I do for work, where I live, who my friends are, what my schedule looks like, how I take care of my body, when I get my hair cut. Think about the entire system that you have in place to support you. This means that it's time to sort of shift and release or reform all of it. Not just a little bit of it, all of it. Because it's, it means that when something needs to change, you can't just pick one little tiny area out. So I like the idea that this is a great intellectual conversation. We can go, oh, yeah, that makes sense. But the actual process of putting it into form, reforming ourselves, is important, because we need to shift out of our intellect and we have to give our heart a voice, and we have to sort of go, so what is really important to me? Is longevity? Do I need to take care of my body so I plan on being here till I'm 80 or 90 or 100 or 150, right? What really matters to me? What am I able to get clear on this? Whether we jot it down or we start putting blank pieces of paper out on the table and we start writing down, this is what is really important to me. And then sort of look at it like, what is your long game? What is this is the short-term change. Where do I want to be 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 40 years in the future? So let me give you some examples. About 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with a leaky gut, which had been finally, after all of these problems with inflammation and joint pain and digestive issues, we finally figured out that my intestines were completely inflamed and they weren't working very well, and that they had cracks in the lining because the villi wasn't working, and digestive food and enzymes was going into the bloodstream, which was causing inflammation from head to toe and affecting the autoimmune. So it's like whole body, stomach, everything I eat, everything I digest, all of my emotions, all of the food. And I thought, oh man, this is diet. This is nurturing the intestines back into health. This is selecting organic foods, because there was a real reaction to conventional foods and pesticides and GMOs. There was this no gluten, no eggs, no dairy. Sounds great. Try finding something without those in restaurants to eat. So restaurants become an issue. Social life becomes an issue. Work culture. Everything needs to change. It's constantly chosen from this point forward. Number 2 example, I work with parents who have kids in therapeutic programs. Those therapeutic placements weren't easy. They took years, or months and months, or years and years to get to. It could be a wilderness stint or a 28-day rehab. Could be a following residential treatment center. or a therapeutic boarding school, but basically anywhere from 3 months to maybe 12 to 15 months, the child is picked up and moved out of the house because the parents and the kids can't stop this repetitive problem, which is maybe school refusal, being concerned about it, coming and reminding, trying to become the motivator. I had one dad that even would make breakfast and, come on, if you get out of bed, it's right here, come eat. You know, anything we do to try to lure someone who stops functioning in the real daily schedule that was created. So what it is that there's often tension, because sometimes there's behavior, there's anger, there's anxiety, and this tension is twofold. So when you pick up the child and you move the child out of the home, you know, it's like, well, what are we going to do as the parents? And so what I'm here to remind you of is that, you know, the kiddo's in a place to learn what they need to learn. They're doing self-examination. They're being called on their stuff all the time. They have to reform themselves and their thinking. And as parents, this requires that that mom, dad, siblings, extended family, family system, friends, support, schools, everything has to change in order to accommodate the new version of this kiddo who comes home. Everybody changes. Third example is after years of maybe pain and conflict, counseling, doing some deep work, you know, you decide that it's time to divorce. And I'm working with a couple of families right now that are in the process of pulling apart their marriage. So what it looks like is kids, house, pets, finances, friends and family are involved. Work schedules need to reform. Roles need to be changed and adapted. Everything changes. These are just 3 examples that I could come up with where we're talking about how interconnected everything is, and that change has to start from at the core and sort of go out. So I'm studying alchemy. I've been studying alchemy for the last year through a mystery school here in the Seattle area, and looking at the elements that comprise, you know, our world, the things that are all part of our world and interconnected. They're in relationships. So what I've learned is that, and we've talked about this on this video series lots, everything is energy, right? Everything is energy. Every bit of energy is in motion all the time. And energy that's in motion is in relationship to something else. So we're just part of a really large spider web. And I love it this fall because if you walk around in the woods or get out in nature, all of the spiders have these big, huge webs trying to catch their last things before the winter or the cold weather sets in. So just go look at a spider web and you touch one little corner and the whole thing moves. Nothing can be changed compartmentalized in a compartment or in a section without changing everything. So once we get into that mindset and we actually know everything changes, then we can start looking at adaptability, fluidity, responsiveness, receptivity, flexibility. This is what is required of us to kind of go, oh, well, now that Junior's in a program, what are we going to do? We have to start doing our own work. Oh, now I have to adopt a new role. Or, oh, now my body needs me to do something different. So it's not possible to compartmentalize. And I'm sort of smiling because, you know, if you know me and you've known me over the years, when I learn something new, it's like boom, 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 boom. It goes into everything I do. And, you know, I'm studying with some families that are like, yeah, we're willing to change this little part, but all the rest of this has to stay intact. And I'm like, good luck with that, because everything has to change. So the one tool that I have found that has helped me the most is something that a dear friend of mine gave me about a year ago when I was moving here to Washington. And I had read this book years ago and never applied it, which is The Fourfold Way by Angela Zarian. She has, I think, 13 pages in a bibliography at the back of the book. So she's done her research and she's brought all the cultures and all the psychology and all the history together to talk about the 4 main things that we need when we're looking at adaptability and flexibility in the world. So 1 is to show up. 2 is to pay attention. 3, well, let me go back. 1 is to show up. That means complete and full presence. Number 2, paying attention. Is your whole body paying attention? Are you consciously watching what's going on and bringing it in and working with it? Number 3, speak your truth, which is, how are your actions and your words in alignment? Are you in integrity? Are you speaking your truth when you talk? Or are you pretending and your mouth is moving and your behavior is over here? Number 4, make no assumptions. Make no assumptions. If I do this and I do that and then I do this, oh, well, then that's going to happen. No, not necessarily, because everything is moving all the time. We shift one little tiny piece and everything ripples out. So making no assumptions means I'm ready to show up for whatever wants to happen. I'm going to try this, and then I'm going to be flexible, and I'm going to be adaptable, and I'm going to watch and see what happens. And then my favorite is, when you're working the fourfold way and everything starts to move and something surprises you or something just comes out of nowhere, you go, and then that happened. And you show up and you pay attention and you let it come through your body, and then you speak your truth about it and you make no more assumptions about it. So this is a key perspective, and it's really important to learn. Oh, so that happened. Now, what do I do next? So be able to create new, different parts of your lifetime, of your life over your lifetime, right? Create new, different parts and let everything change. And if you're gripped and you're holding on and you're struggling with some of the stuff in what I've talked about today, give me a call. We'll have a cup of tea over the phone, and we'll talk about it, because this is what I do. I'm a coach, and I work with change, redefinition, reforming when life happens. My name is Denise Dryden. You can find me on DeniseDrydenCoaching.com, and have a wonderful Sunday and a wonderful end of September. Take care. Bye-bye.